The Jacob Media Sports Network, in partnership with 97.3 ESPN, brings you the Mays and Eytan Show.
Middays with Harry Mays and Eytan Shander.
Now, it's the Midday Show with Harry Mays and Eytan Shander on 97.3 ESPN Radio.
Harry, how much of the home run derby did you watch last night?
Well, not a lot, but I happened to catch the 2-minute and 1-second window of the second round between Vlad Guerrero Jr. and Jock Peterson. And it was pretty amazing because he hit 19 home runs on 25 pitches in that span, did Vlad Guerrero.
Right.
I was like, oh my God. Like, he's going to, swing his back out.
Did you have buyers or did you have sellers, I guess, remorse that at that point you didn't watch the whole thing?
No, not at all. No.
You know, sometimes that happens, right? Where you miss a lot, then you catch in.
No, I mean,
some sort of seller's remorse.
No, I was fine with it. But trust me, because the couple of minutes that I watched, and I stayed with it for a little while. Everybody was hitting the ball to the same direction too. Everything was going over left center. There wasn't any variety. It was just like slow pitch, slow pitch, slow pitch.
These things happen a lot.
I mean,
right?
the funnest thing was watching the gaggle of kids in the outfield, try to scramble around when they thought a ball wasn't going to go over the fence.
Yes,
that was my entertainment for it.
I think at that point, you're right. There really wasn't much. There's never any variety.
No,
though, right?
after like 10 big swings, and oh my God, it's 468 feet. Like, how much of that can I take? Because it's batting practice.
Did you miss Chris Berman in that? 2
No,
minutes
I did not.
And 1 second.
I
that
did
you
not.
watched?
Although Teixeira sucks.
Yeah, he's pretty bad.
He's terrible.
He's really bad.
I mean,
is this the best baseball has to offer?
He had no energy whatsoever last night. I mean, come on, man, give me a little juice.
Why?
You know what I mean?
Yeah, a little
Do you have
jam.
to be on the juice to give me juice?
Yeah, I
Mark?
guess so.
My God.
Mark Teixeira was probably the worst thing about a pretty anemic broadcast and presentation. I know there was some electricity at the end between Alonso and Guerrero Jr., but let's be honest here. There's nothing new. It's not like we saw anything new.
I mean, good for Pete Alonso. He hit, 23 compared to 22 in the third round. But you got to give a trophy to Vlad Guerrero.
Well, what, because he broke a record?
He had 91 home runs on 195 swings.
This guy is like 179th overall in home runs.
Yeah, he only had 8. Yeah, I get it. There was
he hit more home runs last night than he will over the next 3 years combined.
Well, probably, yeah, because 181 players actually had more than 8 home runs, which is what he came in. He only got into the contest because Yelich is out.
Correct.
Okay?
Yeah.
But, I mean, think about the performance he put on.
Well, here's the thing. He's got a great story, and you're right. There is a cool, I guess. All right, I'm not as impressed as you.
Because I remember his old man hitting home runs for his great career, and he would
But
literally
in
hit
games, like meaningful games.
True, but I'm saying he also won the home run derby, I think, one year too. But he'd hit him 6 inches off the plate. 2007, he won the derby. Thanks, Josh. But watching him and trust me, hitting home runs in real games is way better. That's why I think this has long since jumped the shark. Okay, but
absolutely,
what he did last night in that small window of time was pretty amazing. I mean, he took. Where is it on my notes here? He had 25 pitches thrown to him in 2 minutes and 1 second, and he hit 19 home runs. That's pretty remarkable.
It is. But let's be honest. I mean, he's getting BP. I mean, Jake Arrieta's throwing.
But so is everybody else.
Well, I know,
and they didn't do that.
Yeah, but why? Why didn't they do that?
I don't know, but I'm saying the guy's got a skill.
Does he?
Yes.
I'd like to see it in the regular season.
Well, I mean, he has. I don't know how many games he's even played. I mean, let's look into this. I mean. They obviously made the right call in putting him in there.
I'm not saying that you or anybody else who watched it wasted their time. I don't want to come down like I'm saying, change this thing. I did see something, though, across the world that I think I'd rather see if I had the option than the home run derby. But that aside, I'll get to that in a minute, trust me.
Okay.
I don't think you've seen this.
Oh, no, I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah. But on top of that, listen, I get it. Like, I understand why you watched it. I understand why other people watched it for 10 times longer than you did. Mm-hmm. I just think, aren't we at a point right now where they're constantly tweaking to put a different spin on the same thing?
Yeah.
And you know what? I guess maybe if I had
what you got to do, isn't it?
Okay, but if I hadn't seen 400 home runs in the first stretch of the season, then maybe I think I'd appreciate it a little more too.
True, that's what I said yesterday. I said, isn't every night of the baseball season this season has been home run derby,
except meaningful games.
I mean, if you look at what the Phillies pitchers have given up the most home runs in Major League Baseball, and it's not even close.
No. So I was talking to our buddy Seth Everett about this yesterday, right?
Yeah.
And he's saying that 20 teams, I think it's 22 teams, are on pace to hit 400, like ridiculous amount of home runs. I forget the damn math, but how Seth laid it out, it was perfect. And then he was like, there are 6 teams on the opposite end that are poised to give up more home runs than any time in their history.
Wow.
So you've got such a wide gap of like 6, 7 teams that are so bad right now.
Right.
That are just giving up home run after home run, set to finish below, significantly below 500. And then you've got basically the rest of the league that's just mashing.
I know. Yeah, at an incredible rate.
It's like, no, this is an analogy for everybody out there that doesn't understand what I just said, and that happens a lot. This is the NBA and the same 6 women that get passed around like Kendall Jenner and the other 5 of them.
How is that relatable?
22 players, they're 22 stars that every time one of those 6 women come out in the circle, they just smash. And it's the same thing.
Jesus.
It's the same thing. The Marlins, like all these teams, the Phillies, they come up, it's like Kendall Jenner. They're the Phillies.
Right.
Oh, yeah, who's up next? Black Griffin. Who's up next?
Black
Ben Simmons.
Griffin.
Oh, pardon me, Blake Griffin. I was going off the MTO News article. Who's next? You got the same 15, 20 guys that are smashing the same 6 women in these NBA circles.
Jeez.
That's baseball right there.
Okay.
That's baseball right now. The same 6 teams are just giving up baseballs to launch out of parks.
You are not getting that analogy on the Colin Cowherd show. I can promise you that.
No, sir.
No, sir. But, yeah, I mean, I caught it for a little while, and I happened to catch the best part of it. I didn't feel like sticking around to see, Guerrero against Alonso. But, I mean, it is kind of amazing. His first home run, Guerrero Jr.'s, was 462 feet. I mean, he hit
pretty impressive.
He hit one 488 feet long. That was his longest one.
Yep.
The average was 424. He hit 38,641 feet of home runs. This is according to Jeff Passan on ESPN.
Not Stark?
He tallied all this stuff. No, it was Passan.
Okay, because I saw Stark with a tally as well, and I wonder.
No,
not Andy Tally.
Well, maybe it's like the NBA reporting. All of the writers kind of get together and put together something. They put it under Passan's name, and then Jason Stark will have the Athletic or whatever. You know what I mean? So.
No, we have an issue, okay? Because we didn't realize what happens on a Tuesday. Shame on you, shame on me. We reached out, I'd say, 15, 20 minutes, and this is on us. This is just how we work. We reached out 20 minutes before the show to Frank Close.
Well, I reached out to somebody else yesterday and was rebuffed because they're on vacation. I said, all right, no worries.
Wait, is that a reason to rebuff?
Hey,
First off, who's on
I'm not going to give the guy a hard time. It's the All-Star break. The guy
if he didn't have a horrendous Pizza Hut take, then I wouldn't give him a hard time. But because he had such a god-awful Pizza Hut take, I feel like we have to give him a hard time. Maybe he's down in the shore area.
He probably
listening
is.
to us on
he
the radio.
Might, but I'm going to let him have his week off.
This is the All-Star. Wait, you don't take vacation in the regular. If you cover a sport like this guy does, who's on TV and does a fantastic job, he's the first guy we reached out to.
Right. Corey Seidman. I love him.
You're going to dime him out there?
Well, you just did because of the pizza take.
Pizza Hut
take. By the way, I like Pizza Hut.
Well,
I got no issue with Pizza Hut. What is it with you and Sealski and guys like that always trying to rip, and tear down like places to eat food? People like different stuff.
No.
Big deal.
Okay, because the world of culinary arts and the world of
culinary arts,
all right, demands more.
Have you seen your kitchen?
Yeah.
You know nothing of culinary arts.
Well, hold on a second. That's because
you order stuff from Amazon in boxes and eat it. It's like frozen meal.
No, they're fresh. You can't freeze what I order. Jesus. That's the difference. You can't put that in the freezer. It's all fresh. There's a date and everything on it.
Was that the box that the apartment complex allowed somebody to grift?
No, that had our new streaming camera in there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it had a 400. Oh, yeah, now you understand why Rob Tourneau put out that piece of me on the Yelp that got taken down and why I'm
It
furious.
got taken down?
Yeah, my building must have taken it down.
Can they do that?
I guess they fought it. I don't know.
Really?
I don't know, yeah.
But I've never been on Yelp. I've never done a review.
Me neither. Well, I guess I've done like a couple, but years ago, and I figured, all right, well, I'm getting ignored here.
Right.
And they're threatening me with eviction because
So, in other words, they could come in right now during the show and throw our asses out.
I don't know about that. I think
No?
I have some legal right here. I mean, I don't know if well, here's the thing. I have secured, because the woman who runs the building here, the property manager, refuses to tell anybody who to complain to if they have an issue with her. So she has kept this thing completely silent about who to go over her head.
So there's like another management, maybe in another location.
Well, there's a property manager. Absolutely.
Right.
Because she's on site. So what I have found is I've now secured 4 names who are like assistant vice president, VP, president of op. I have direct lines as well. I've got personal emails. So at this point, I'm kind of just waiting. That's kind of just like this Trump card I have to wait. But hey, credit Rob Tourneau. He reached out to me. I just tweeted out a Yelp link saying I'm fed up that I'm having packages stolen here and nobody's helping me. I figured that would be like something that would get a response.
Yeah.
And it took me 10 days to get a response. And the only way that I got a response is I had to interrupt a tour and explain to the woman who was doing the tour, hey, it's been a week since somebody has even mentioned my stolen package.
Did you tell the people that were taking the tour, no, don't move in here, this place blows?
Actually, that did happen, but it wasn't me, it was somebody else.
Oh.
Yeah, so just understand that I'm not alone here, all right? Just look at Matt Mullen's Twitter account.
Yeah, you're like a local
Voice.
hero right now amongst this building,
I did not ask for this responsibility.
No?
Okay, all I wanted was my stolen package returned.
You might lead an uprising.
Maybe.
You know?
It's like Attica, right?
Yeah.
Attica.
All right, now, Vlad Guerrero Jr. has played in 61 games for Toronto this season so far.
All right, here's the thing. I have, real quick.
Yeah.
Josh has put this up here, so I'm going to read it verbatim, right? You are protected by your rental agreement that states only certain criteria for you to be kicked out by law. They have to get a legal ruling and then get notified. You get notified of eviction. They can't just kick down the door. You have to be out. They must give you an amount of time to clear out. I feel like in the movies, though, there's that sign. Somebody comes home and there's that sign
on your door or whatever saying that you have 30 days to leave the premises, right?
Exactly right.
Your first mistake is basing your understanding on a movie.
Well, come on. Everything I learned from the Tenet super relation is from Joe Pesci's The Super. All right?
That's your second mistake.
Have you ever seen that movie?
No, and I'm not going to.
Wait a second. Why not? Joe Pesci, have you seen that?
No, I've never seen it.
All right, so, something happens with his, rich family and everything, and I guess he gets a ruling that he has to live in the building, right? Because he's this rich guy who runs a slumlord building, and the ruling comes down that he has to live in the building that he's the slumlord in.
So he's sort of like E.B.
Yes,
E.B.
exactly.
Farnham before, like Hearst buys the building, but then he allows E.B. to stay there.
Correct, but in this case, Joe Pesci has to live in this. So, he's in the hood, and he doesn't know what he's scared, he's petrified, and, he's still Joe Pesci, though, right?
Right.
So he still has a little Pesci in him. And there's just some great scenes, man. I mean, there's some great color relations in that movie. You want to talk about bringing people together.
Yeah.
You go watch The Super, all right?
Now, is this My Cousin Vinny era time frame for him?
I want to say it's probably teetering around
1991.
Okay, so when is I feel like My Cousin Vinny is probably
it's
92,
it's
93.
in the 90s. I know that, but I forget when.
But it's that same time period where Pesci tried to go and branch out and say, "Listen, I'm not just a guy who's going to stab people. I can do comedy. I can do other things." It was an underrated movie. What did Rotten Tomatoes give it? 0 out of 100.
Is that what they did?
Nice. Love it, man.
Oh,
Love
boy.
it. I tell you, at this point, you guys are missing out. All right, what'd you have in the Phillies? I'm sorry.
No, just no, not on the Phillies. We were going to have a guest on to talk a little.
Oh, I thought you
a little baseball. Just sort of maybe.
This is how much we moved around.
Looking forward to seeing what Matt Klentak can do, might want to do over these next couple weeks till the trade deadline, because they're in a sort of a precarious spot where they're right there at the wild card, but yet when you look at them, they're not good enough to win,
right?
A series, or unless they have Nola going, they're probably not going to win a wild card one-game playoff either.
Right.
Unless for some reason their bats went crazy. So you're like, do you make a move now and, get rid of more of your farm system, which they're kind of depleted, to be honest with you, to get some guy in here to help you for the next 2 months when you might miss the playoffs anyway?
Yeah, I don't think that at that point there's any type of move you make. There's no move that I would make as a buyer at this point.
Well, I think the next 7 games might tell them because they got the Nationals and the Dodgers.
Are you really going to make up enough ground in which you'd have to be leading the first wild card with some sort of convincing
Well, they are in the wild card.
They're in the second wild card.
First or second. They're one of the teams.
But that's my point, is that you would have to definitively be at the top and fighting for the division to be a buyer. You have to be in the division hunt.
Yeah, I don't think
to
they're
be
catching
a
the Braves.
No, they're not, which is why you're not a buyer. That's the thing.
Well, I mean, some teams, some places just want to make the playoffs.
There you go.
Take a chance and win a walk. They're the second wild card. Them and the Nationals right now are the 2 wild card teams, and the Brewers are like a half game behind.
So it's the Nats and then them.
Yes,
and that's what I'm saying.
And they face the Nats right out of the gate this weekend.
Right, but if you're not in a position where you're 2 games, maybe 3 games, like you could sweep the Braves in a series and tie them for the division. Mm-hmm. That's that cutoff line for me to where I'm like, all right, they're not buyers.
They could very easily lose 5 out of their next 7 games.
Yeah, and then what are you talking? You're not talking about buying.
No, then you're cooked.
Absolutely, you're cooked.
But that's what I'm saying. Like the next 7 games could really do a lot to, figure out what Clentac may do.
I think at this point, man, the next 7 games are going to be a definitive statement of why, and this is me saying it, on why they're not going to do anything, like why they should sell. All right, real quick, before we get to our predicament here. Tone at the Bull Tone, right? Listening on the stream all the time. Maybe on the radio station too, but we just assume, Tone, that you're listening on the stream. The Super, 1991, was an awesome movie. Come on, Harry Mays. Come on.
I didn't say it wasn't.
Well,
How did I get a come on, Harry Mays?
He's just letting you know.
I just haven't seen it.
He's just letting you know, all right?
Yeah, I'm out on Tone right now.
All right, now I have to tell you, this is what happened. 20 minutes before the show, we reached out to Frank Close.
Correct.
Because I forgot that yesterday you were going to reach out to Corey, and I was supposed to reach out to Frank.
My cousin Vinny was 92, so it was the next
year. Look at
that.
that.
So it's right in that.
He kind of got his comedic knife sharpened with the Super so he could walk into My Cousin Vinny and dominate. He could walk in and dominate Iron Chef. He kind of sharpened the knife ahead of time. It was like one of those entry round shows to get into Iron Chef.
Well, also on the Lethal Weapons, too, where he was the sort of
Well, when was the first Lethal Weapon?
I got to check.
No, it wasn't before that, was it? Was the first Lethal Weapon?
Lethal.
No, wait. He wasn't in Lethal Weapon. He was only in the third one.
Lethal Weapon 3 was in 1992, so it's right at that same time.
Are you
period.
serious?
Yeah, I'm looking right at it. Leo Getz, a great character.
Oh, my God.
Well, yeah, Lethal Weapon 2 he was in.
I thought the first Lethal Weapon was like 90, 91.
No, Lethal Weapon 2 he was also in, which was 89.
He was in Lethal Weapon 2?
Yes, he was. I'm looking at it.
When was the whole drive-through scene where he's like, they bleep you in the drive-through?
I think that might have been 2.
Yeah,
that was hilarious.
It was, but now, you go back and you look at a lot of the stuff he did. Mm-hmm. There's certain things that stand out. Like
Home Alone, 1990?
Yeah.
That's kind of that's a comedic kind of role.
I guess you're right. Why did I think that?
I think you're really out on Joe Pesci. You need to
go
study up.
It's not that I'm out. It's just that my time is off. Yeah. My time frames. What's that?
Lethal Weapon 2.
Okay, it was Lethal Weapon 2, the drive-thru.
Yeah, it's a hilarious scene.
Yeah, but I think the Leo Getz guys, I'm out on Leo Getz.
Why?
I'm in on Pesci's comedic value, though. I thought that, like, My Cousin Vinny is a movie that would never be able to be duplicated. You won't have to worry about that being remade now.
No.
Or rebooted with a different cast. You won't have to worry about that.
Louis Kritzky was the character he played in the Super.
Home Alone?
No,
the Super.
Yeah.
Louis Kritzky. I'm telling you, the Super is an underrated Pesci movie, man.
All right.
Missing out. All right, so we reached out to Frank.
Yeah, Frank Close.
Yeah, and what Frank said is he can do it at 1 o'clock, but we found out that Frank is on every Tuesday with Mike Gill.
With Gill.
Right.
We found that out from Gill.
Correct, because we clearly don't listen on Tuesdays.
Did Frank indicate that?
Nope. Frank, shameless self-promoter as he is.
So Frank wants to be on 2 shows.
And wouldn't you do the same? I would.
I don't know. I would inform the host, hey, I'd love to do it, guys. No problem, but just to let you know, I'm going to be on in an hour and a half later.
Now you sound like Kurt Heelan,
who
tells me that he can't come on my overnight show Tuesday morning because somebody booked him Friday morning that same week. Like, that's the length that he'll go to avoid me.
That's absurd.
Well, guys,
he just doesn't like you anymore.
Frank is trying to accumulate more questions for his weekly mailbag.
Yeah, I see he puts out tweets requesting questions.
So, maybe he feels like if he comes on with you guys at 1, it'll maybe inquiring, interested minds and to give him more questions for the mailbag.
But see, here, we got to think about the listener. Because the listener is, let's just say, the guys that listen to both shows. Do they want to hear Frank on twice in the same day, probably answering and talking about a lot of the same issues and answering the same questions?
That's on us.
Yeah,
but
I
think we could bring John McMullen on every day and talk to him about something completely unrelated to the NFL, and it will be way more compelling than if we did what you're saying, which is find a way to ask him about the same stuff in a different way. Like we could bring John on, and you could have 4 or 5 things that you don't tell me you're going to ask him. I could have 4 or 5 things that I'm going to ask him. It could be anything about golf. It could be about a book you were reading.
Pizza Hut pizza.
Wawa
hoagies.
The man not only has an opinion about anything, it sounds at the very least like he has an informed opinion about everything. So
you're
that's
100%
what I'm saying.
Correct.
All right, and here's Gil wasting 24 minutes a day on football talk with John. I mean, I'd be talking about Play-Doh. I'd be talking about Play-Doh. I'd be talking about both.
Socrates.
Socrates and
or
eating
Socrates.
Play-Doh.
He goes by Socrates to some people.
Now, are you going to watch that reboot?
What's that?
They're rebooting. I guess they're rebooting, right? Not remaking. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
No.
You referenced Socrates.
Okay, well, I didn't see that movie.
That's what it's from.
I didn't know that. I just thought it sounded funny.
Wait a second. I don't believe that.
No, I never saw it.
I don't believe that.
That's got Keanu Reeves in it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I can't stand him.
Well, that was pre-Keanu. That was before. That was like Point Blank.
Point Break.
What did I say? Point
Blank.
Yeah, that was Point Blank.
Not Gross Point Blank.
No.
That's what's
John
his name?
Cusack.
John Cusack.
By the way, it's not a reboot. It's technically a 3rd in the installment series.
Oh, boy.
It's going to be called Bill and Ted Face the Music, coming out in 2020.
Here's the problem. The only person that really made that movie is gone. So how can you can't bring George Carlin back in a hologram.
No.
So the movie's dead.
That would be creepy anyway.
Yeah, the movie's dead. Like, there's certain things. Okay, I'll give you a perfect example. Powers Booth dies. The actor dies from the end of Deadwood until the movie.
Right.
So he's not going to be in the movie.
Right.
Like, he just can't. And I'm not going to talk about him in the movie or not, but I'm just saying, like, at some point you have to either write in and pay homage to somebody, or you just say no. And
he's out.
Right. Now, Cy wasn't it would be like if Ian McShane died.
Well, do you know what? Powers Booth was really first considered for the Al Swearingen role before Ian McShane.
Is that right?
Yes.
Where'd you find that?
I did some digging.
Really?
Yes.
Now, I wonder how that would have been different.
Mm-hmm.
See,
I'm glad
too.
It turned out the way it did.
Powers Booth is like the perfect number 2 guy.
Yeah.
He's the guy that can say just enough, but there's no soliloquy. There's no standing in front of somebody and talking in the Shakespearean cadence that McShane can deliver while saying "see-sucker" and "mf" and everything else. Like, that balance is just something you won't find.
I'll tell you what.
Unbelievable.
That's a very good observation.
Oh, I love it. All right. So what do we do with Close?
I don't know. I mean, let's let.
Can we bring him on and talk about other things that Mike Gill's not going to talk about?
Let's let the listeners decide via the text board. They can tell us here in the next 15 minutes or so.
Yeah, but we need to set some sort of parameters, right? Like, we can't just say, hey, do you want to hear Frank? Do you want to hear Frank talk baseball? Do you want to hear Frank talk about stuff that we just throw at him?